We shall today look at the role of the teacher under the pragmatic philosophy of education. The first thing is that the teacher applies democratic methods. What does that mean? It simply means that the teacher is not doing all the talking, because in a democracy, most of the talking is done by the people. So the students in the classroom are involved in activities, in methods, in ways that will provide them opportunities to talk in the classroom constructively. Instead of the teacher, when the child wants to say something, simply responding by saying not now or keep quiet or you haven't raised your hand and stuff like that, opportunities are provided by the teacher for the students to be doing constructive talking in the classroom. The classroom is a community of learners. In other words, it's a social setting. The student is not looked upon as an individual in the classroom. The classroom is not made up of 20, 30, 60 individual students. A classroom is made up by a group of students, and that makes the community of learners. So in other words, students not only learn on their own, but they also learn from one another as they are involved in activities that provide them to talk in the classroom. Teacher encourages, offers suggestions, questions, and helps plan and implements course of study, which means that the role of the teacher is not limited to the classroom. Because if the teacher is involved in planning the course of study, it should happen outside the classroom. And when the teacher is involved in this, constructively planning, making sure which point during the class to put a question, how many questions, how to respond to questions, how to continue the flow of questions in a classroom is important. So the teacher actually plans and promotes a questioning mind in the student, not to the aim that the answers must be given by the teacher. The questions posed can be answered by the students as well. The teacher is not solely responsible for answering all questions that come about in a classroom setting. Teacher is facilitator and not authoritarian, which simply means that the teacher does not follow a top-down policy. I'm in control, do as I say. The teacher moves from the front of the classroom, moves around to the back, the side, moves around in the classroom to make sure that the students are doing what they're supposed to be doing. And when they need help, if a student or a group of students need help, to facilitate them. Not give them the answer, not direct them to the answer, but help the students get to the answer themselves. So the teacher's role is that of a facilitator, not a giver or dispenser of information and knowledge alone. Teacher writes curriculum and must have a command of several disciplines to create and implement curriculum. Now, the teacher writes the curriculum. This also happens outside the classroom, not inside the classroom. And the teacher needs to be familiar with more than one discipline, not just what the teacher is trying to teach, but other areas as well, because life today in the 21st century revolves around multiple disciplines. What happens in one discipline affects another discipline, or something that the student learned in another subject may be beneficial to the student now in another subject that this teacher is trying to teach. So under the pragmatic approach, the teacher's role primarily boils down to being a facilitator, a helper, promoting questions in the classroom, and opening the student's mind through the process of making the students use their heads and their mouths constructively in the classroom to promote their learning experiences.